What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, back for another video of how to get started on Amazon. And today we explore a whole other way to get started on Amazon. Now, if you didn't see the last video, we exclusively talked about getting started on Amazon by selling used items in your garage and brand new items that we sometimes collect. And we do that through a process called FBA. And in this video, we're going to cover another different way to sell through FBA that doesn't involve you having to have any merchandise collecting dust in your garage. In this video, we'll talk about how you can get inventory from companies out there that are willing to sell you products in order for you to put it for them on Amazon. So without further ado, I'm super fired up. I hope you're fired up. Let's go and do this. All right, so with the tactic that we're going to cover today, it is a tactic that you can use with a small budget or even a big budget in order to fire up an Amazon FBA business. Now, what FBA is, for those of you that still don't know, that is fulfillment by Amazon. That is where you send the merchandise into Amazon and they fulfill everything. They take care of the payment, they take care of some of the traffic in some cases, and they take care of shipping the product to your customer. So remember, in total, there are really 3 different ways to get the party started on Amazon. One is through FBA. The second one is merchant fulfilling. The third one is print on demand. And you know, just the other day, I was thinking of a fourth and entirely different one that I will cover in the future. And that is agency. That is when you know so much about Amazon, you can sell your services to put people's products on Amazon for them and even help them get it ranked. So we will cover that all in another video. But today we're going to be talking about a tactic called wholesaling. So wholesaling is just what it sounds like. It's good old fashioned. You buy from an actual distributor of a product and or a brand at a lower price than what you're going to sell it for on Amazon. And there's a lot of little different ways that you can use wholesaling. There's a lot of different ways that you can find wholesale products. And there's a lot of information that you should be aware of before you start your Amazon career in wholesaling. So that's what we're going to cover here in this video. And I'm also going to show you a couple examples of some products that you can acquire through wholesaling and a couple different tactics that you can use in order to get these products. And I'm going to talk about the money involved that you'll need for this, as well as the ease of starting it up and my own personal experience with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start out by showing a couple of different examples, and then I'll talk about where I found these examples, and then I'll talk about more about my experience with it. Right, so the very first example is a company by the name of KidCraft, which is available to wholesale this product to you or any other interested parties. And the way I found this particular contact, and one way of finding wholesale companies that are willing to sell you products for you to resell them on Amazon, is through something called a trade show. Now, there are a lot of trade show directories out there that will tell you when there's trade shows going on. There's trade shows in China. I've been to the one in Canton Fair, which is in China. I've been to ones in Chicago. I've been to ones in Las Vegas. And while COVID has changed that, a lot of them have gone virtual. So look up trade show calendar directories and then get on the list for a bunch of those trade shows if wholesale is something that you're actually interested in. But I met KidCraft through a wholesale show called Toy Fair, and it is the largest toy fair in the United States, and all these toy companies get together in this one giant pavilion, and then you can go in there and visit their booths. They showcase their product. You can go and talk to them directly to see what the price is and see if they would be willing to sell you products wholesale. Now, the good thing about KidCraft is they'll sell pretty much anyone their products, and that includes people that are going to put them on Amazon. One problem that we do face as wholesalers is a lot of companies don't allow you to put their product on Amazon, so you do want to let them know that you will be selling the product on Amazon and find out if they allow you. Now, there really is no way to go around this, because at some point, if they do find out and it is one of your top sellers, it's pretty much going to take away one of your lines of income almost immediately. Now, if they do allow you to sell on Amazon, a lot of them have rules. One of those rules is something called MAP pricing. MAP pricing means it is the minimum amount that you can charge for the product. They have a minimum and a maximum. You can go no higher than the product price that was intended to stay at that point. So let's say, for example, they sell a product and they're selling it to you for $10 and the retail price is $29.99 and they have a MAP pricing of $29.99. That means that you can never go below $29.99, because if you do, it voids out your contract and they will no longer wholesale to you. And that is really imperative, because I've seen a lot of people break that MAP pricing, or I've seen a lot of wholesale companies not have MAP pricing, which creates a problem for their product, because now their product's value seems like it's less than what it should be. So I've seen a lot of instances where they sell the product to $10 for a person that is reselling it on Amazon for $19.99. So it makes the value of their product seem a lot less, and they continue to sell it to that person person, and that pretty much kills everyone else's sales, and it also makes the value of the product seem a lot less. So keep those two things in mind when you go wholesale. So Kidcraft, that's how I found them at Toy Fair, and I do recommend, if this is something you want to do, to get out there, look at some products and look at some trade shows, even if they're virtual and online. Now, the second way that you can find wholesale products is by just going local. And I found one such manufacturer locally in my hometown of El Paso, and this was a company called Helen of Troy, who is the manufacturer of products like OXO and Revlon and all sorts of other products like that. This is their wholesale location, and they would sell liquidation, they would sell all sorts of things, and I would go and hit this place once a week, and I would scan inside of the entire place, and then I would go take all the stuff that I bought, list it on Amazon, and I did that for about 2 straight years. It was my primary source of income for 2 years, and it was the only place that I would go source because it was the one place that I found. Now, at some point later, a lot of people started to find out about it, and a lot of people started to do the same thing that I did, and so now they have limits to what you can buy, but it's one of many places that are probably still available out there in your local town. There might be a place that's out there that still sells locally to people, and then you can wholesale it. And I found a couple of these around the city that I lived in, and it was just a small city. So you can imagine what you can find if you're in a much larger city, or you're just in a city where there's not a lot of people doing this. But that's the second way you can do this. Now, the third way that I've seen this done is just contacting the brand that you're interested in. So right here, we have an email that I received on one of my brands, and this was received on the 13th, 2018. I receive a lot of these all the time, but I just randomly scooped this one up. And this is somebody that was interested in one of the products that I was selling, and they basically just straight up reached out to me and said, do you have any information about your wholesale program and pricing? Regards. And all you got to do, if you're interested in selling products, find the website of the manufacturer you're interested in selling their products and shoot them out an email just like this. Find out what their minimum order requirement, which is an MOQ, minimum order quantity, ask them for that, and see what other details you can find out about their wholesale program. Now, a lot of times their wholesale program might be a ridiculously high MOQ or a ridiculously high first-time order, and if that's the case, you could still go out there and look for distributors of that particular manufacturer. And distributors are nothing more than people that have already done and taken care of that $50,000, let's say, minimum order, and now you can order from them a much smaller order. So don't be shy. Get out there and just start sending some emails and start asking some questions to both the manufacturer as well as the distributors that they give you if they will not sell directly to you. All right, now with that being said, let's talk about the type of money that's involved in this and the type of time that you need to devote to it. All right, with money, you can start with as little as a couple $100s to $1,000. It really just depends on the manufacturer's minimum order quantity, or MOQ. And we talked about that already. The second big thing that you will want to consider is this is going to take quite a bit of time, because you are going to have to do not only the research, but you're also going to have to do the contact, the reaching out, the phone calls, and all that good stuff. So it's going to take somebody that's organized and dedicated to following up with those people to make sure that you get an answer. So that is going to require a lot of time. And the third and final thing that I wanted to mention is that there are going to be cases where the manufacturer will require a tax license, which means you're going to have to go to your local comptroller and or taxing authority in your state and get that tax license. Now, it might sound like a scary thing, but most of the time it's as simple as just giving them your social security number and then signing up to get that tax certificate, and then making sure you file that on a timely basis every month, every quarter, or every year. So it really depends on what your overall sales are, and you'll have to report that to the proper taxing authority, and it's going to depend on what state you're in. So again, don't be shy to call the tax office, as they're getting questions like this all the time, so they know that it's very scary for somebody when they first get their tax certificate. All right, and the last thing that I wanted to show is I am on a listing at Kidcraft. I wanted to show you guys somebody that's selling this particular item wholesale. And now if I just go ahead and put one set, or actually if I put this other size in here, you're going to notice that there is this seller right here that's selling it for $79.99. They are called Trial and OCH, and they got a ridiculous amount on the shipping. But This is an example of somebody that bought this doll wholesale from KidCraft and now is putting the product on Amazon. They're selling the product on Amazon, and they don't have to take care of anything other than getting the dollhouse to Amazon, or in this case, they're shipping it themselves, so they're merchant fulfilling. But in other cases, it would be sold prime and they would have to ship that dollhouse into Amazon, and then Amazon would take care of everything else for this company, Triad Enoch. So now the last thing that I wanted to mention before I say goodbye here is that really it takes no extra set of skills if you decide to wholesale. It's very similar to retail arbitrage, and all you really need to know is how to list products and ship them into Amazon. The only other things that you could learn is better tactics for finding the people that you buy products from. And there's a lot of people selling courses on that particular subject, but the whole rest of the equation is the same thing as retail arbitrage. All of these products already have good reputations, they've got good brands, and they've got pretty decent followings. Therefore, people are already searching them on Amazon. So you're not gonna have to do any ranking. You're more than likely not gonna have to do any pay-per-click. All you're gonna need to do is list these products. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this. It just takes somebody that has the determination to put in all the work and put in all the time that is going to take to find these suppliers and do the proper research. So other than that, let me know below if you have any other questions or comments on this tactic. This is a tactic that I've had a ton of success with, and I've made a good, decent amount of money in order to at least fund my FBA business. And it is a tactic that I do recommend for beginners if they have the money to put in. And it's also a tactic that I do know people that make upwards of $20 to $30 million per year selling other people's products. So it is a very viable strategy to use to scale up your business to however big you want it to be. So I'll see you all in the next video.